Hello everybody! This should be coming out shortly after New Year's, so I hope that you had a good New Year's and that your 2026 is going well. I can't believe we're in 2026 already, or that y'all are, because I'm not yet. I'm filming this before Christmas even, so not 2026 for me. But as we look forward to 2026, I wanted to take a moment to reflect on 2025, as far as books go, at least. There may be an end of the year tag like this somewhere, but I'm unfamiliar with it, and I just decided on a few categories through which to look back on my 2025 year in books. As the old saying goes, first is the worst, so I'm going to start with what to me was my worst read of 2025, and if you've seen my videos, that it's no surprise that that is Shadow of the Scorpion. While I am still absolutely obsessed with this cover, and I think it is so beautiful, I hated the story, and I'm really not sure I'm going to keep this on my shelf. And it's not so much the plot that I hated, I just couldn't get into the characters at all. There was some content in this that was just unneeded and kind of gross, and the writing was not very good, and I just had an overall bad time. I almost DNF'd it, but I have a very bad habit of finishing books even if I hate them. So I did finish it. It is read now. It was my worst book of 2025. And I'll just give you I'll try to give like a brief synopsis or at least like genre for the books. I'm so bad at doing that. I always forget to in my videos, but I'm going to try to for this one. So this is sci-fi, if you couldn't tell from the giant bug on the cover. And I was so intrigued by that. I thought it was going to be so cool, and I do think that the world that was created was pretty cool. And I know this is also part of a series, or it's like a companion book to a series, so I think the world building is looked into a little bit more in other books, and I might enjoy those, but I didn't enjoy the writing enough to check those out. But it is sci-fi. It follows Ian Cormac, who is, I guess, the hero of the whole series, and this is like the prequel kind of. This is his early years and how he got started in all of this. So rather than me trying to give you a good synopsis, I'll just read the back. This is Ian Cormac's early years. Raised to adulthood during the end of the war between the human polity and the vicious anthropoid race, the Praetor, Ian Cormac is haunted by childhood memories of a sinister scorpion-shaped war drone and the burden of losses he doesn't remember. In the years following the war, he signs up with Earth Central Security and is sent out to either restore or maintain order on worlds devastated by Praetor bombardment. There, he discovers that though the old enemy remains as murderous as ever, they are not anywhere near as perfidious or dangerous as some of his fellow humans, some closer to him than he would like. Amidst the ruins left by wartime genocides, he discovers in himself a cold capacity for violence, learns some horrible truths about his own past, and, set upon a course of vengeance, tries to stay alive. So, if that sounds interesting, for sure check it out. Like if you really love sci-fi, or if you're really into the Ian Cormac stories, this is a good like addition to that, I guess it would be. I mean, I haven't read any of the others, but it does a good job introducing you to Cormac and letting you in on what shaped him. But yeah, it's a no for me. So this was my worst book of 2025. So the next category is best book of 2025, and I'm going to give you two. I'm going to do nonfiction and then also fiction. So my best nonfiction read was Gentle and Lowly. This was so very good and so just comforting, I guess. I have a whole bunch of tabs in it and I highlighted all throughout, and I had a really good time reading this one. I just took my time with it and went slowly, and yeah, it was comforting, which is what it's supposed to be. It's the heart of Christ for sinners and sufferers. So it gives you an insight into Christ's character. And my best fiction read, believe it or not, was not Daughter of Smoke and Bone, although that's probably tied with any best book that I read. But I'm going to say The Book Thief instead. This one I did listen to on audiobook, but it was a second read through for me, so I have read like the physical book and really taken it in. And I just had such a good time with the audiobook. I think my review for this should be coming out soon. It's probably not out yet, but it should be one of the next videos. But I just had a really good time with this. It is very sad, it did make me cry, but it still is a best book because I was blown away by Markus Zusak's writing and I really love the characters in this, and I love the storytelling and just the way all of it is done. So this was my best book of 2025. This next category is really random, but that's kind of the point because I don't have a ton of categories, and you know, a lot of us read like tons and tons of books throughout the year. I average about 35, which is not the most for sure, but I'm pretty happy with that for now. I'm going to try to push it in 2026 and read more like 40 or 45, but I'm pretty happy with 35. But I'm not going to sit here and tell you all 35 of those books. So this next category is just the 5th book that I read in 2025. And I just thought that that would be kind of a fun, random, wacky inclusion, a way to talk about a book that I probably wouldn't have otherwise. And that is Gospel Threads. This was the 5th book that I read, and it is so tiny. It's very, very little. I don't think it took me very long to read, but it was a gift to all of the seniors from the RUF ministry leader at my school. To all the seniors who at least sort of regularly attended RUF. I honestly didn't attend very regularly. I did play guitar for one semester, but RUF was always so late. I ended up going to a different campus ministry on a different night. But you know, no hard feelings. I just didn't want to stay up that late. But the Gospel Threads was very good. It just goes through some very basic parts of the gospel in a more broad way. So it hits on the character of God, the sinfulness of man, the sufficiency of Christ, the necessity of faith, and the urgency of eternity. And it was a good book. It was a good read. A very quick one. So if you're a little bit curious about the gospel or just delving into some of those topics, this is a really easy one to get into. It's like no pressure, just, you know, pick it up, it's tiny, go ahead and read it. So this was a good one, but this was my 5th read of 2025. The next category is the first book that you read in the year, which this definitely should be before the 5th book. I just don't own the first book, so I was going through my stack and just picked up the 5th book instead. But like I said, I don't have a physical copy, but I'll put a picture somewhere up here. I read Sahara as the first book of the year, which is kind of crazy because I didn't like it, so that's a little unfortunate. I really love the Sahara movie, and then I found out that my sister owned the book, and I was staying with her for December and January, so I started it in December and then finished it in January before I had to go back to school. It took me a very, very long time to get to. I was not very motivated to read it. I didn't like the writing. I didn't really like the characters. The characters were okay, but they're definitely not like the characters in the movie, except for maybe Steve Zahn's character, which I can't remember his name right now. I've only seen the movie like 4 times. It is part of a larger series, and I know that a lot of people love the Dirk Pitt novels. I'm not a fan. I won't be reading any more of them. I actually had another one on my shelf that I had no idea was also a Dirk Pitt novel, but after reading Sahara and then seeing the name Clive Cussler, the author, and doing a little bit more research into the series, I discovered that I did own another book, and I very quickly just got rid of it. I took it to a little free library because I'm not going to read it. So that was definitely a disappointing first read, but that was the first book that I read in 2025. This second to last category is the last book that you read in the year. So for me, there's still like a week until the end of the year, but I don't think I'll be finishing anything else before then. So the last book that I did finish was Glass Sword, and I just filmed a review video for this, but that'll be coming out in a couple weeks, probably after The Book Thief. But I did just finish Glass Sword, and I really enjoyed it. This is the second book in the Red Queen series. It follows Mare and Cal and Killorn and Farley and everybody else from Red Queen as they're navigating this war that's kind of bridging and like figuring out how to save a whole bunch of people, and there's a lot going on. There was so much going on in this book, and I really enjoyed it. And I'm about to start King's Cage, but I highly doubt I will finish King's Cage before the end of the year. I just don't really have the time or the motivation to finish a 400-page book in the next few days. So this is probably the last book I will have finished in 2025. I have one other contender. I'm currently listening to Good Omens on audiobook. This will be my 3rd read-through, I believe. And I'm just not sure if I'm going to finish it before the end of the year or not, but there's a good chance. I think I have like 5 hours left, and I probably have at least that much work to do before the end of the year. So I think that this will probably actually be the last book that I read, but I'm not positive, so I wanted to throw in Glass Sword. But Good Omens is hilarious. I have read this book twice before. Like I said, I'm thoroughly enjoying the audiobook. It's so well done. And I've watched the first season of the series. I'm not too into the second season. I watched the first episode and just didn't really want to continue. But the first season is done really well and sticks very close to the book and feels very much just like an extension of the book. So If you've read Good Omens, I would recommend checking out the TV show. If you want to know what it's about, it is about the end of the world, the apocalypse. I think I have a full review of this somewhere on my channel, so I will link that if you want more in-depth conversation about it or just thoughts on it. But I love the characters. They're very funny, very well done. All of the writing is also very humorous. Like, there's so much humor, especially for it being an apocalyptic book. It's just humor. The whole thing is just funny. And this is one that I can just read again and again because it's just well done and funny, and I love a lot about it. So this is probably the last book that I read in 2025. And the last category is books bought in 2025, which I had to scrounge to find anything. Obviously, I did just purchase King's Cage because I was really enjoying Red Queen and I knew I wanted to continue it, so I bought this one and it came in yesterday or the day before. I think it came in yesterday, which is why I was very motivated to finish Glass Sword, and I finished it this morning so I can start King's Cage. But I couldn't think of any other book that I'd bought in 2025. It took me quite a while to remember the second one I bought, which is The Scribe. And this book was written by my creative writing professor. It is the second book that he wrote. I already owned and had read the first one, The Resurrectionist, and I knew that I wanted to get this before I left school so that he could sign it for me, because he signed The Resurrectionist, and I wasn't really sure when I would get back to Mississippi to see him. So I bought this one in 2025 so that he could sign it. But otherwise, I don't think I bought another book in 2025. I definitely picked up other books from little free libraries, but I don't think I bought anything else. I have traded books in little free libraries, and also the library in one of the towns near me has like a take a book, leave a book shelf, and so I've done that a couple times. But I didn't actually purchase anything else, at least not for myself. I don't even know if I bought a book for somebody else. I have one that I need to buy for somebody else, and I just haven't yet. But yeah, those were the only two books I purchased in 2025, which I'm really proud of that because I have in the past had a very bad habit of just buying so many books. And especially when I go to the thrift store near me, because they have 50-cent paperbacks and $1 hardbacks. So it's very easy to go and just pick up all of these books and want to keep them. And I didn't do that, so I'm proud of that. Anyway, I think those are the only books I bought in 2025. I could be wrong, I could be missing a couple, but that's all that's standing out. And that is it for the video. I hope that you liked it. If you did, please give it a like and subscribe. And let me know down below if you've read any of these books. And if you want to go through and do this challenge and just leave it in the comments, go ahead and do that. That's awesome. I would love to see what you've been reading this year. And yeah, and that's it. So thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Let's have a great 2026, everybody. Bye-bye.